Hi everybody, it's Jules X here, Celtic wildlife artist, and it is 10 o'clock. I had a little bit of a struggle to get live. I just tried to go live, it didn't want to let me in, but it has set in time, so hopefully it'll be all right. Welcome to Weekly Wildlife Wisdom. I am proudly wearing my beaver t-shirt today, which is one of my drawings that the Beaver Trust here in the UK, I've gifted this image for them to use on their merchandise. So I'm really proud to support their work, and I'm actually going over to our local wetlands this evening to be with the beavers over there, as I also support the work of the Derbyshire Wildlife Trust as well, who are the stewards of this particular reserve near to us, about 10 minutes away. So I'm very excited for some time with the beavers this evening, and also all the other amazing birds that all absolutely love this wetland that is being recrafted by these eco engineers. So I'm very, very fortunate. So today, though, our focus is on the beautiful energy and wisdom of the thrush. And again, I tend to have a little bit of a read up on who they are in terms of where they live around the world. And I think there's 175, just get that right, 175 different species within the thrush family around the world. Isn't that amazing? I'm always fascinated by how lots of species have got lots and lots of different variants around the world, and how their energy will be slightly and subtly different, each one, but there is an overarching energy. So wherever you are today, morning Susie. Oh, thank you. She says, I love the beaver portrait. That's very kind of you. He is the heart-shaped beaver because he is sort of heart-shaped, which is what I named the piece. So wherever you are, whether you're in the States or if you're in Australia or China, wherever you are, I'm sure there probably is a thrush species or 10 or 12 that you can look up and you can discover whereabouts maybe they are. And ideally, if you can see them yourselves, because it's always wonderful to encounter them. So if you do get the chance to have some time directly with thrush energy, once you delve in a little bit with me here, I'd love to hear about that. So the reason I was called to share thrush was a few days ago. Very rare sighting for our garden anyway. A beautiful, I think it was a song thrush. We have two types of, well, there's more actually. There's two that are called thrush in their name, which is the missel thrush and the song thrush in the UK, but also the blackbird, the fieldfare, the redwing and the ring woozle are all part of the thrush family in the UK. So we've got quite a few. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of thrush in the UK alone. But yes, this was a beautiful song thrush. And he or she was in the garden foraging on our lawn, and I haven't seen a thrush in our garden for such a long time, and I just got that feeling that it was a good idea to share the wisdom of this beautiful bird with you today. So that's what I'm going to dive into. I just wanted to add before I do, I know I share this sometimes, but I think it's always worth just reconnecting with it. I love the Celtic beliefs about nature and wildlife, and I feel that very strongly within me because that's where my ancestors originate from. And I've always had that resonance, even when I was a really small child and I hadn't been taught about it, I hadn't read it anywhere. I just would know certain things, which I've then later, as I've got older and read and learned, have realised that it was a knowing that I had that was within me. So it's magic that happens, isn't it? Coming through your ancestral line, there are memories there that you can access. But also I love the quantum physics understanding that an amazing animal communicator, Amelia Kincaid, always describes so beautifully as the quantum hologram. And that suggests that the whole of life, as we probably come to accept these days, is all made of stardust. It's all made of the same basic elements. We all are. And through life, death, and life, death cycles, we are literally just recreated into form and also non-physical form. And within that, every single being, every single form, life form, animate or inanimate, holds this same life energy. And so for me, what really makes sense about this quantum physics explanation is that within each animal, in this instance with wildlife, there are a combination of qualities and energies held. So if we take the thrush, they hold a particular energy within them. But within us, we are also a quantum hologram. There is a part of us that is the same resonance and the same energy and the same wisdom, which we may have forgotten. We may have been conditioned out of it with our busy thinking human minds. But when we connect with that animal, with our heart and with a stillness, I believe the reason that we feel that connection is because we recognize that energy, that beauty within ourselves. And so if there is an imbalance in our lives, and let's face it, who hasn't got imbalances, we can learn to be drawn to certain animals to help us to remember and to accept and reintegrate that aspect of ourselves into our life and the way that we see things, the way that we believe things, and the way that we behave and act in our life. And I think it's really essential. So I wanted to just touch on that because I've seen a few people talking about it, and not in an unfriendly way, but suggesting that maybe there is a difference between connecting intuitively with an individual animal, known as animal communication or interspecies communication, and or the collective consciousness of groups of species of animals. And I always try to encourage people to open to that. So I think that's sort of my overarching desire, is that people open up to that and at least contemplate it and ponder whether that would make sense to them. So let's dive into thrush, because I'm conscious of time as always, but I think that's important to place that in that conversation. So the thrush, so what's the key element? I mean, there's always lots, but for me, there's something very new, there's something very beginning like in their energy, something very vibrant. And of course they have this magnificent voice, a magnificent song. And I've called today's session singing your life's new song. And so for me, the invitation of thrush is that we consider where we are moving in our life and where we might be stuck, because again, we're all stuck in different ways, doing the same things, but wishing that we weren't, or weren't getting the same results over and over, and how we can step into the new and bring about change for positive intention into our life. And I think the song thrush in particular, but all the thrush family, have beautiful singing voices. It's not necessarily about singing. Some of us love to do that, some of us don't. It's about what we bring energetically into the world, not just with our verbal communication, but also with our energy, our thoughts, the thought forms that we are putting out into the world. And like throwing a pebble into the pond, the ripples really do go far, much further than we could possibly imagine, I'm sure. And is that helping with the planet and where we need to be moving? And I think humanity has a massive opportunity to adjust ourselves individually, taking our own personal responsibility lovingly, and doing what we need with self-care and love, and often help from others that are expert and can help us to rebalance the way that we are in the world, and in doing so change our positive experience, change our physical experience into more positive outcomes. And I know that's a sort of a polarized view, positive, negative, but I mean more with more good intention and more good thought. We tend to gravitate towards things that are more pleasing to us, if that makes sense. Probably not describing that terribly well, but I'm sure you get the gist of what I'm saying. So, are we bringing gratitude? Are we bringing joy? Are we bringing our unique wisdom? And are we honoring life around us, all of life? Because to me, that's what the animals always do. They're at that default setting where they bring this beautiful presence. They're in the moment. They are who they are without question. They don't try and hide and pretend that they're something else or try to fit in with others. They are themselves, and that's what the calling is. And the thrush shows us beautifully how to do that. They like to sit at the top of really big trees so that they can really echo out their vibration. And I've had connections with birds over the years, and the dawn chorus and the dusk chorus, when I've connected in, sitting quietly with the birds, I can feel this vibration connecting with all the other birds and creating this web of beautiful energy. As we come into the new day and the light is coming, and as we come ready for the darkness of the night time and the resting, for those of us that sleep at night. And it's a beautiful ceremony every single day, twice a day, that birds offer into the world, and it's absolutely magical. And if you imagine, however many billion humans on the world at this point in time, also being able to bring that energy and that beauty with that grace into the world, it literally is transformative. Susie's saying the first notes of the dawn chorus are sounding here now. How wonderful to have that in the background, Susie. And it is, it's there's something so magical about that. And even if you live in a really built up city, I'm sure you will still hear some birds. I have been to the occasional place where you can't hear any birds, which saddens me so much. But generally, and hope with our loving care, we can really help to support wildlife and keep these beautiful beings here where they belong in their physical lifetimes, because it is so needed. It's all part of this big holographic balance, and that's what we need. So for us personally, we need to bring our voice out into the world in whatever way that's right for us. So if you see thrushes around, or you find yourself being drawn to them, then really take that message on board. But I think we can all do with hearing that message. I'm feeling like I'm stepping into a new part of my life. I'm coming through perimenopause. I'm coming into the later part of my life, the Celtic triple goddess, which I know is not just Celtic. It's the age of the crone, of the wise woman. And it's how I choose to embrace that and honor that and celebrate that, and ask myself, what is it that I want to be bringing into the world as I step through that threshold and head into that stage of my life, and how, what is it that's holding me back and keeping me small, and almost sabotaging what I would want to be doing in the world, and then how I can move beyond that. And I think the thrush also, for me, there's a lot of hope and optimism when you hear those songs. Susie's saying, yes, we need to open our windows. Yeah, open the windows, let the song in, because it really is so healing and so inspiring. And this hope and optimism is what we need. For me personally, I don't like to get into politics, but since we've had a change of government, and what we've been seeing in the early days has really made a big difference to me, because I feel like the people that are now running the country are being much more open and transparent and mature and adult and caring and kind and respectful and honouring, and so many different qualities that were really, really absent in our previous government. And that was such a horrible feeling, and that had been for 14 years. So for me, it's like a weight off my shoulders, and we can't guarantee how things are going to turn out. That's, you know, that's yet to come. But at the moment, that makes me feel very, very much more optimistic. And so I guess the questions are, what can you look at to help you to feel more optimistic? What can you do within yourself? Because that's where we have most influence to affect change. And I think that's what the thrush is really calling to us. Oh, Susie's saying, yeah, there's a good energy rising in the world. Yeah, I really feel that too, Susie. And it had been pretty dark. And don't get me wrong, there's still an awful lot of things going on in the world that really need to crumble and fall away and be demolished, ready for the new. But I really do feel that shift, and it feels really wonderful, and so needed. And so I guess it's like, our question is, what are we bringing to that, and how can we do our very best and move into this sense of the new and bringing our service into the world in the best way that we can. So the last thing is, and again, this has all been tied in, and I think I've maybe said it already, but I think there is a healing central focus, and this is really all about healing. And when I say healing, it's on every level within us: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And it's about bringing ourselves back into equilibrium. Nature, wildlife, always seeks to return to equilibrium. Susie's saying feminine attributes. Yeah, the sacred matriarchy, which is where we really need to be back to which is nature and how nature is. And this is not about gender or any of that. It's about the attributes of feminine energy, and wildlife and all of nature beautifully demonstrate it to us every day. In the way that they are and the way that life is for them. And as humans, we have really sort of diverted off of that sacred path, and it's about bringing ourselves back. So healing in what ways we need to be able to release as much of our wounding and our trauma that may be from our particular life or our ancestral life as we possibly can, so that we can walk that middle way and vibrate out into the world that beautiful energy. Oh, hello, Helen. Oh, it's lovely to have you here. Welcome. We've not got too much left, but obviously you can tune back into the rest of the replay a few minutes after this finishes, Helen. But it's lovely to have you here. Welcome. I'm glad you found me. And yeah, so Thrush overall is just such a beautiful, optimistic, singing out things that we want to bring back into alignment in the world, and starting with ourselves, which is the best, really, the only place to begin and end, because that's where we can do most good, and we can then inspire others, not necessarily by even talking to them, but just by being that in the world. Gandhi's famous phrase of being the change we wish to see in the world really does make complete sense. And yeah, and so the thrush shows us that. I think it's such a beautiful message for now, and I hope you are equally feeling into that as well. So so there you are. I'm going to stop there for now, because I'm realizing that it's about time for me to leave you in peace. But I hope you've enjoyed listening in. I try and do this every Friday, so I'll put up a notification around about Wednesday each week with a different species, always wild species. If you have any requests, let me know. But generally, I tend to go with who shows up for me and what's calling, who's calling to be to have their message shared. So if you haven't already, do subscribe so you get a little notification each week to remind you to come along and either watch me live or watch the replay. So I'm sending you lots of love, sending you lots of thrush energy to help you to bring your new song into the world, and sending you lots of love, and take good care of yourselves, and see you next week. Bye for now. Bye. Bye, everybody. You're so welcome. Take care.